Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Bellissimo and today we're going to be going over commas. Okay, without further ado, let's get into commas. So we've gone over a few ways to go over commas and how to use them. Today will be a little bit of a trickier topic, not too hard, but you definitely will want to pay attention to some of these rules. Okay, so today we're going over commas with dependent and independent clauses. Sometimes. Okay, let's go over what a dependent and independent clause is before we kind of get into how to use them. Okay, so let me explain these. What is an independent clause? Let's take a look at this guy right here. So if we look at the sentence, she went to the store because she was hungry, this right here is a complete sentence. Okay, it is made up of two clauses. Now a clause is just an idea. When together it will make a complete idea, but it's just going to be an idea. We're going to follow that subject, verb, object pattern that English does. So if we make subject pink, we make verb orange, and we'll make the object blue. We don't really need to talk too much about the object, but let's focus on the subject and the verb because we want that there. So we have she and we have she, right? We know that she, he, it, they, we, you, and I are our subjects, along with our proper nouns, Mark, Heather, Frank, all that. Those are all going to be our subjects, right? So you can have any kind of name. Sorry, my emails are coming through. So you can have any kind of name there that you'd like as well. Those are all going to be our subjects right there. So we know that those are our subjects, she and she. And then we take a look at our verbs. So we have went, right, our past tense of to go. A little bit big, let's make that a bit smaller. So we have our past tense of to go, our went right there. So we know that that is our verb, went, perfect. And then we have our past tense right there of our verb to be, so she was. Okay, so when we get here, we kind of get to the rest of the sub-sentence right there. And the one thing I really want to point out to you, and we're going to make this green, is this word because. So that's quite big. Is this word because. Okay, so because right there is showing us that we are linking two of these kind of clauses together, independent and dependent. If I were to have a complete thought, for example, if I said she went to the store, this right here is going to be what we call our independent clause. Okay, it depends on nobody. It has money, it is good, it has a job, it pays its own rent, it's fine, right? So independent is the one who is like, I always think of it like kind of Beyonce's situation, you know, she's strong, she's independent, she's all great. Okay, that's how I think of this sentence right here. So she went to the store, has a complete idea, because in English with our sentences we want a complete idea. This can be the kind of the trickier part to know when a complete sentence is. Okay, we want a complete idea right there. There's going to be no lingering questions in the sentence. We know exactly what is happening. If I sent this to you, if I came up to you in the middle of nowhere and said she went to the store, you would have an idea of what's going on. There's a female person and she went to a store. Perfect. Done. If I went up to you and said, because she was hungry, you would have no idea really what I'm talking about. This is when kind of the questions start showing up. Because she was hungry, what happened? Because she was hungry, she ate 100 hot dogs? Maybe? I don't know. Because she was hungry, we don't know what's going on. And this is what we call our dependent clause. Okay, this is what we call our dependent clause. We start right here with an adverb clause. Don't worry too much about it. As long as you can kind of determine what is an independent and dependent clause. If you want to hear more about adverb and adjective clauses specifically with these words, let me know in the comment section below and I can make a video on that. But just know that there are some of these words like because, although, therefore, some of these will be adjective or adverb clauses that will kind of trigger you into knowing it's a dependent clause. But if you kind of get that idea of it has to be a complete idea and not have any questions left over, you'll get more into the idea of what a dependent clause is. Okay, so let's take a quick peek at this one, right? Independent. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so we can write these one of two ways. So we can write it with our independent and then our dependent clause, right? The way we had it above. Complete sentence, totally fine, because we have our because right here. So if we have an independent clause followed by dependent, then we are all hunky-dory. We're happy, it's a complete sentence. We just need our one little period and everything is perfect. Now, you may have been told when you were in school that you never start a sentence with the word because. That's not true. You can start a sentence with the word because. There may be reasons why you would not want to, and some of them are because you would just be writing a dependent clause without your independent clause, and then we get into that's not a sentence. That would be what would be called a fragment. Okay, I see many students do this. I'll see many students say something like, because she was hungry, and then I point out that this is wrong, and they go, oh, it's because I started with a because, and I say, no, not quite. You have a dependent clause there. We need an independent clause. So let's take a look right below and see how that's written. Okay, this right here is a completely correct sentence. Because she was hungry, comma, she went to the store. We start with our dependent clause. Right? We start with our dependent clause, and then we move on to our independent clause. The thing that we need to remember here is just when you do this, this is where the comma will come in. This is why we're talking about commas. So if you start a sentence with a dependent, if you start your sentence with your because, and there are more reasons than one that you might not want to start with because, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. You can. If you start your sentence with because, you're going to have to make sure that you have an independent clause and a comma that separates those two. Okay, I know, lots of rules to take in. Let's take a look at one or two of these and see how we do. Okay. So, after eating breakfast, I went to school. So the first thing that we're going to do, and we'll work through this one together, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine, step one, where our independent clause is. I find this to be the easiest because we all kind of know what an independent clause is and have a better feel for it. So if I look at these, after eating breakfast, I went to school. Where is our dependent? Let's make our independent. Let's make our independent pink. Okay, if you said I went to school, you would be correct. We have our subject right here. We have our subject and we have our verb. All right, perfect. We have a preposition, we have an object, we have lots of other stuff, but we have our subject and our verb. Easy to start with. All right, so if I know that that's our independent, right, so we've identified that, then we have to identify where our dependent is, which should be easy at this point because our dependent is going to be what our independent is not. Perfect. Okay. And then we have to determine, step 3, if the step is independent dependent, then we just need a period. Or if it's dependent, then we need a comma, independent, period. Okay. So if we're looking at this, an independent is pink. Oh, that chunk is blue. If independent is pink and if dependent is our orange right there, ours is going dependent independent, so our comma would go right here. Perfect. All right, let's take a look at one more. Because it was Halloween, I went trick-or-treating. Because it was Halloween, I went trick-or-treating. This is a nice example right here. So first things first is we're going to identify where is our independent. Take a moment, identify that one. We're going to do this one in pink. If you said I went trick-or-treating, you would be correct. Okay, we have our nice subject right here. oops, we have our subject right here. We have our verb right here. Perfect. And we have what we've already seen before as our kind of our tip-off that this is our dependent clause, most likely and most frequently used one. In my personal opinion, I haven't done any research to figure out which one's actually the most used, but because it seems to be used quite a lot. So we know that that is our dependent, so we're going to highlight our dependent. It's going to be everything that our independent is not. Then we're going to determine, is it independent dependent with a period or dependent, comma, independent with a period. Well, we have our dependent first, so we're going to put our comma right there. Okay, last one. I went to the store although I wasn't hungry. I went to the store although I wasn't hungry. Let's take a quick peek at this one. Okay, so the first step here we're going to do is we're going to find our independent clause. And take a moment, find that one. You'll notice here we have two subjects, we have two verbs, but which one is our independent clause? This one is going to be right here. Here is our independent clause, right? So we're going to make this whole thing kind of pink, okay? And then that's going to leave our dependent clause right here. Alright, so we've identified both our independent and dependent clauses. So now my question is, do we need a comma? Remember, if it is independent dependent, we do not need a comma, we just put a period at the end. If it is dependent independent, we need that comma right in the middle and then a period. Which one does this follow? You said it follows this one, then you are correct. That means we do not need a comma. I hope these examples were helpful for you. If you'd like to see some more examples on this subject, make a comment in the comment section below, and I'm happy to make some more. I hope this helps, and as always, if you have any other ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm always looking for new grammar topics. If you have any questions, comments, or if you'd like me to take a look at something, see if it is correct or not, a sentence, feel free to post them in the comment section below. I'm always looking to hear from you guys and see kind of what is it that you're struggling with and what do you want to learn a little bit more. It doesn't matter if you are A1 all the way up to a C2. I'm happy to help with any kind of questions. Alright, well I hope this was helpful and I will see you later. Bye!